I recently took on the absolutely monumental task of playing video games. Ancient video games from the Gameboy Advance. So these are all the GBA games that I've ever played. Let's see how many of them still hold up. Metal Slug. Some of you might be wondering what it is that 8-year-old me was looking for in a game. Well, I wasn't a very bright kid, so the reason I came across this game was because I wanted to find a game like Metal Gear Solid, and so I thought to myself, well, they both start with metal, so they must be pretty similar, right? Like I said, I wasn't very bright. I ain't too mad at myself because this game looks and feels amazing. If you're looking for a crazy, fun, fast-paced action game, then this is it. You also get to eat a ton of bread in this game, living the dream. Super Mario Advance. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this one before. This game is cool. You get to be Mario, Linguini, Princess the Peach, or Toad. The little penis head looking little bitch! This game is the epitome. This game is the epitome of a good 2D platformer game. It's fun, it's goofy, it's got great music, and it feels great to control, which is the main thing. It's got some of the best level design in a 2D platformer that a game could ever have. And Birdo gave me nightmares. Splinter Cell. Stealth games weren't really a thing for the Game Boy Advance, but this is one of the few that does exist. It's quite cool for what it is. There's a mission where you're making your way through a burning building. There's a mission where you're scaling down a building. There's a mission where you're taking pictures of people in a building. This game has buildings. Not only that, it has a shooty gun that only puts people to sleep because you can't kill a guy. Use that on me, I need some sleep. You have night vision goggles because you're Sam Fisher and he loves seeing. You can lockpick doors and you can open up lockers and it's fun. Although a bit tedious at times because it's a stealth game and you have to wait for enemies to move back and forth and they only ever walk because they're boring. But that's what a stealth game is, so be prepared for that. It is fun nonetheless. Good game, thank you. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Look, given the nature of this handheld device, a lot of the games on it are 2D platformers, which isn't inherently a bad thing. Although, it seems the developer didn't know how to, or maybe care about, or maybe have the time and budget to make the game actually fun. With this game, it's clear from the first level that it's just going to be a slog to get through. So the first level, much like in real life, we're trying to chase that money, meaning it should be a fast-paced level, right? So why does it keep grinding to a halt? The money only moves again if you physically touch it, which takes a level that could actually be a bit of fun, and just makes it a chore to do. For the rest of the levels, it plays like a 2D platformer. A pretty slow, clunky, boring one, with a few nice ideas here and there. Oh, and you do get some nice rewards if you collect all the collectibles. For example, if you collect all the letters and spell out Wonka because he's an egotistical maniac. Well, let's just see what type of reward we get. Oh! Thank you, game. Thank you for introducing my eyes to this piece of shit! Oh, and you can unlock some minigames too, but yeah, you guessed it, they're crap! This game is terrible, please don't make me play it again. I'd rather go see that Wonka show they recently did in Glasgow. Even that looked better than this.
What is that? It's the unknown!
Crash Bandicoot 2, Entranced. Now this right here, this is a good example of a 2D platformer that just works on the Game Boy Advance. It's really nice to look at, it's got some great color schemes, its moveset is almost identical to the PS1 games, but most importantly the gameplay is smooth and it's just fun to play. In true Crash Bandicoot fashion, his fashion being no shirt but a nice pair of jorts, which by the way John Cena, you can try but you'll never pull off jorts as well as Crash can. Oh no, he actually pulled off the jorts. You can put them back on, please. You can put them back on. They look great. Alright, anyway, so in classic Crash fashion, there's a variety of different levels to do. And surely it can't just be me who's super impressed by these water graphics. I feel like I could drink it, but, you know, I might kiss a shark on accident. Then we might fall in love. One more game! Jackie Chan's Adventures. With this game being a tie-in from a show, I wouldn't blame you if you assumed that it was just a half-baked cookie, but as you're playing it, it doesn't actually feel like it is. As a beat-em-up game, there's actually some really nice combos in this one, and obviously weapons to pick up, but my favourite part about it is when you dodge. It also doubles up as an attack, so when you dodge backwards, you like kick them in the face, and when you dodge forwards, you like kicks them or punches them or something, maybe in the dick. I think it's just a really cool addition. One thing I really do love about some GBA games though is, there'll be like a cutscene going on and your main character might be getting threatened or even beaten up, and it's a really tense moment, but god damn it if your music doesn't make you just wanna... Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and Return of the King. I'm gonna bunch these two together because they're pretty similar. To start with The Two Towers, we get to pick our character from the selection of Aragorn, Gandalf, Frodo, Legolas, and of course, the game wouldn't be complete without Éowyn. And a stoned looking Éowyn at that. Look, I think Éowyn is a great character. In fact, in my own words, I would say she is the niece of King Theoden of Rohan, and is a strong, independent, and beautiful woman. She's a welcome addition. But where is Gimli, son of Groin? These are both very good games that sort of act like an action RPG. Think of it as like a portable, stripped back Diablo kind of game. Return of the King played better because the animations felt more fluid and there's a couple more attack animations. Oh, and also, good of you to join us as a playable character, Gimli, son of Groin. Right, but are you ready for the most impressive part? Live reflections! Who remembers the time Peter Pan joined the Fellowship? The Incredible Hulk. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Hulk, so I don't know what kind of tone the comics or the animated series goes for, but this game was a long time before the Hulk was ever dabbing on kids because he's funny now. So if that's the only Hulk you know, you might be surprised to find out that the tone is pretty dark in this game. Even the music can make you feel uneasy as you go around clapping people's cheeks.
I don't think that's what clapping cheeks means.
What? This doesn't look like he's going around clapping cheeks to you.
Yeah, but it's like... It's... Never mind.
Do you want to try telling me something else sounds wrong as well? Maybe Hulk smash or something? You idiot. Just tell me what it means, man.
They mean, come here, homie.
Oh no, please stop.
Oh, homie, come clap my cheeks.
It is a really great feeling when you send enemies through the air with a single punch, or when you simply just get Hulk to just break stuff.
It's just one of those days. It's all about the heaser. It's all about the heaser. She's a washing.
Yeah, it still holds up. I'm never asking you for a favor again, man.
Oh, homie.
Stop. Driver 3, also known as Driv 3R. If you play this game too much in one sitting, it could possibly hurt your eyes, your head, and you'll probably start to feel the room warp around you. But in itself, it feels like such a feat that a game that plays and looks like this even exists on the handheld device we know as a GBA. It is a very challenging game, but it's also fun. The older driver games were always difficult though, and that's just amplified when you play it on this device because obviously it's harder to control. There weren't a lot of games on the Game Boy where you could go around with a gun and carjack people, but it's okay because you're a cop, it's all legal, it's all good. Now I'm not saying I personally want to do this, but I did try to, and I'm pretty sure you can't shoot civilians. I think though, purely just from how impressive it is on the Game Boy, this does hold up. This is where someone tells me, actually it's not that impressive, all I had to do. Driver 2. It's like Driver 3, but with less to do because you can't shoot guns. And I like my games to have shooty guns. So I don't like this game. Nah, I actually do really like this one as well. It captures that classic driver feel and really makes you feel like Ryan Gosling. I mean, Tanner. It really makes you feel like Tanner. Gosling my dick. Simpsons Road Rage. They say you'll never truly understand road rage till you felt it yourself. Well, luckily for the ones who played this, you experienced it early on. Got a head start in life. You saw a bleak, grim glimpse into the future. No more video games. No more playing outside, making money just enough to get by. Seeing everyone around you getting older and just wondering what it's all about as an existential crisis creeps in. Just simply not knowing. Oh, I love this upbeat tune. It feels like you're cruising down to the beach with a cool summer breeze kissing your sandy cheeks. This is one of my favorite games on this little device. It's just so easy to pick up and play. You have a great cast of famous Simpsons characters, much as MILF, and they all have their own unique vehicle. You unlock these by earning money in Road Rage mode, where you're basically a taxi, or Performance mode where you have to drive like an absolute madman. But that all depends on what the customer likes. Some of them are like, please crash into some more signs. Some of them are like, don't crash into anything. Some of them are speed freaks that are like,
Oh, please, sir, go fast.
and that's exactly what they sound like. I know, I studied Simpsons voices. There are missions that are just fun little things. They don't really get you anything though, but personally, just for the joy of doing them, I think they're worth doing. Albeit, they are stressful as hell, because they're difficult, but who cares about that? It's just a bit of fun. Lego Knights Kingdom. Oh, this game. If stepping on Lego was a game, this would be it. And speaking of Lego, where is the Lego? What single part of these environments scream Lego to you? None of it. I can't see any resemblance apart from the characters themselves. The levels are pretty much just press the key buttons to unlock the door at the end, and go through the door. Fight the enemies on your way. That's pretty much all it is. It's also embarrassingly short, but I'm not so sure that's a bad thing with a game like this. I don't know what else to tell you except that 8-year-old me loved this game. And it just makes me miss the days where a game like this could be impressive to me. I think the part I used to find the most fun was this sort of tournament mode, but then when I went back to it I realized all it is block, attack, block, attack, block, attack, block, attack, block. King Kong, the official movie game of the official one. I don't think you'd ever really expect a King Kong game to have clear inspiration from the Legend of Zelda games. But as soon as you play this game, it's pretty clear to see. This is surprisingly a pretty good game though, and it even has a crafting system where you can create like grenades, spears, rafts. In this game you play as Jack, Carl, and even Anne sometimes. And these characters all have their own different hairstyles. Pretty cool. But not only that, they all have their own separate unique items and weapons. Playing as King Kong is pretty bland though. I think 9-year-old me would be very surprised to hear me say that, but it's easily the worst part about this game. It's not a huge detriment to the game though, because all the sections that you play as him are really short, and it can be a nice change of pace. So this game still holds up. Mega Man Battle Network, one of them, I believe it was like 4 or 5 or 1 or maybe fucking 100 or whatever. This game is all about computer chips, battle chips, fish and chips, network chips, linking yourself into computers and whatever fuck chips. I'm going to be honest though. Aside from the battles, I never used to pay too much attention to what was going on in this game. I thought returning to it as an adult, I would finally pay attention to what was surrounding the battles. I didn't. But that's just because the combat system in this game is crazy amounts of fun. It does take a minute to grasp it, but when you do, oh man, it is such a blast. I do plan on returning to this game if I ever catch up on my backlog, and maybe then I'll actually pay full attention to what's going on, but just from the combat point of view, this game still holds up. Ace Lightning. Whoa, Ace Lightning, into the bin you go. Right from the get-go, you have a feeling this game is going to be terrible, and honestly, you'd be right. Everything about this game is bad, from the level design, the gameplay, the music, and that goddamn intro.
No matter how dead you are, it's terrible. I hate it. I don't want to listen to that again.
I actually remember really liking this game as well, so credit to my parents for not dropping me off on some randomer's doorstep, because what kind of child must I have been? What was I thinking? Oh, Ace Lightning. Whoa, Ace Lightning, this game's a piece of shit. 10 out of 10. Spyro the Seasons games. I'm just gonna put these two together because I like them both and they're not too different from each other. First and foremost, apart from the camera angle, these games feel exactly how a Spyro game should. He has almost, if not all of his PS1 moves, the sounds are great, and the level design is good enough to just have a jolly old time. Unfortunately, because of the camera angle, running can be pretty risky because you might drown or at the very least send a jolt of pain down from your head to your knees. Objectively speaking, Season of Flame is the better one because you can breathe both fire and ice, and that makes it better. And in this one, there's some beloved returning characters who get their own variety of different levels that stray from the standard gameplay. Like with Monkey, I forgot his name, it's kind of like a 2D platformer where you shoot guns. And with Kangaroo, I forgot her name, it's like Q*bert. Yay! However, I personally remember Season of Ice more just because, as I may have brought up already, I was a dumb child. So I had Season of Ice for a very long time and managed to go back to it time and time again. But with Season of Flame, I only got that towards the end of my GBA cycle, so I'm not even sure if I ever managed to complete it. Robot Wars Advanced Destruction. Oh boy. Let's get the positives out of the way first. It's based on a brilliant competitive game show, and you get to make and name your very own robot. It's a shame that this is the gameplay. And I can just imagine them as they were making the soundtrack going like, so you know what sound I want to go for, you know what I want to create. Have you ever heard like, farts? Really, none of the weapons or traps seem to do anything, so your best bet is to just flip everything over. That's how I used to beat this game as a kid, and that's exactly how I played it now as well. Actually no, I take that back, your best bet isn't flipping them over. Your best bet is flipping this game cartridge straight into the bin. Rock and roll racing. That's right, this game features rocks, rolls, and racings. This is just a neat little racing game, which features classic rock songs played in 8-bit. And honestly, they sound awesome. I love it. There's also weapons in this game. You can upgrade your car or buy new, better ones. There's tons of weird designs for pretty much, well, everything. Which I guess it does seem to be set in the future and on different planets as well. So it's gotta have like eclectic designs, right? It just feels like a very experimental kind of game. And I think that's very cool. I really like this one. Planet of the Apes. This game is as bad as the movie Planet of the Apes, Marky Mark edition. I did actually have a whole section written for this, but honestly now that I'm here recording it, I think there's just one thing I can say that will sum up how I feel about this game. You maniacs! You messed it up! God damn you! God damn you all to hell! Max Payne. One of gaming's most depressing stories comes to one of gaming's happiest little consoles. The voice acting, music, and storyboard cutscenes really managed to capture the emotional noir-style storytelling that Max Payne is famous for. And the gameplay is so impressive what they managed to do here. It's probably as close as you could get on a Game Boy to those classic Max Payne shootouts. This game ain't easy. Lucky for Max though, he's not the only one in this city that's addicted to painkillers, so it's not uncommon for him to find his healing items laying around the place. Very wise to take some painkillers you found in the bin in a dingy little subway. Wait, Max, give me a closer look at those. I knew it! These aren't painkillers, they're painkillers! Max, you can't take these, you'll die, please. No, don't, Max, come on, man. The Crash and Spyro Fusion games. So you mean to tell me there's not one, but two crossover games featuring the characters Crash Bandicoot and Spyro Dragon? Considering what a big deal it would have been to have a Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot crossover, you may be wondering why so many people have never heard of these games. Well, my good sir, or madam, that is because they are shit. It is cool to see Spyro interacting with the Crash characters and vice versa. Seeing the way they mashed the two worlds together is fun in its own way, and whilst I'm playing I actually can't help but feel like a certain sense of what the hell is that? So the sort of like hub kind of world in this game kind of plays out as like a dumbed down platformer with no substance to it. The only reason it exists is to act like a bridge between each level, which is essentially just mini games. Some of the mini games are quite fun, but a lot of them are also pretty dire. Here's where the real disappointment comes in though. When I was younger at least, I had assumed that it would be like the Crash Bandicoot and the Spyro Game Boy Advance worlds would be merged together, and that includes the gameplay. I didn't realize they would both just be the same game but with the different characters pretty much. So I basically thought we would get a game where it's like Crash in the style of Spyro Season of Fire or Ice, and the same goes the other way. I thought we would get like a Spyro game that's like a 2D platformer in the style of Crash 2 and Trance. But no, instead we just got some mini game madness. I still feel the disappointment to this day, so I have to say these games do not hold up. Whilst there's some fun to be had, it's just too much of a sore spot. Final Fantasy Tactics. This was my favorite This was my favorite GBA game, so I'm gonna have to make a conscious effort to not make this part half an hour long. It starts off with a snowball fight at school to act as a tutorial, and it only takes one turn to realize that everyone on the enemy team is just picking on this one kid, so you decide to do what you feel is right, and throw snowballs at him, because that way he has no chance. There's no way he can take you all up. This same kid brings a book over to your house. Now after this book is opened, later on in the night, it actually starts to transform the world around them. Ooh, unlucky mate. Oh, if you're gonna get transformed, that is not what you want to be. He just aged 40 years in 1 minute. See, all the missions in this game obviously do have different descriptions to each other, but they pretty much are just go fight this or that. For example, this mission objective says to go and pick some herbs, but really what that means is go fight these goblins that are still in their adorable little pajamas. And maybe I should see this as a bigger deal than it is, but I don't actually mind it at all because the battles are really fun and there's a lot of depth to them. One of the best feelings you can get from this game though is just noticing your progression, going from a clan of 5 little scrubs to 24 big, burly beasts. And if anyone's not pulling their weight, then it's also a great feeling to just let them go. Oh, actually, yeah. That is pretty sad. It's kind of heartbreaking. But well deserved. It's nice seeing the map fill out when you decide what place should go where. It has got a good story to it, still one of my favorite GBA games. Cars. This is a game about cars that have eyes, thoughts, feelings, and I don't want to think about how they do it. but these things have to reproduce somehow. With all that knowledge on what this is, without seeing the product, anyone would assume this was a horror game, right? Well, no, you fucking idiot. It's a kid's game based off of a kid's movie. And you'll never guess what the name of the movie is. Obviously, in this game you play as Lightning McQueen. Ka-chow, my head. You even get to unlock different colors for him and different characters in general, which is pretty cool, but look, I ain't gonna lie. The camera angle makes it so hard to control in this game, and it makes it so you also only have like half a second to react to a fence all of a sudden being right in front of you. You can turn this like mini-map thing on, and honestly, it's probably the only way you can actually play this game. So yeah, all road signs point to this game being a bad one, but it's still fun for about, I don't know, maybe half an hour before you want to ka-chow onto the next one. Advanced Guardian Heroes. I must have thought this game was just one of the weirdest games when I was growing up. Because what the fuck is this blonde wacky flailing arm guy? What the fuck is this, the Incredulous Hulk? Incredulous because I do not believe they did not steal an early design of the Hulk. What the fuck is this? Goblin butt. I want to be gobbling on some butt right now. These are actually things that make me really like the game though. Yeah, sure, the designs are pretty weird. That's also what makes them so great. There's a unique sensibility to it. There's fun combos to do in this game. There's magic, you can parry. In between levels, there's a chance to upgrade your stats for your character if you have enough points. There's some really good level design, but there's also some terrible level design, like this part where you jump in from rock to rock. It's just pretty bland. It's not the only time it does this sort of game mechanic either. I actually only found out recently that this is a sequel to another game, and it's apparently inferior to the original. I guess though, with a fresh set of eyes, and without having that comparison because I didn't play the original, I still really like this one. Tony Hawk's Underground. If I was to say this game has almost identical graphics to the PS2 version, you'd assume I was lying, right? Well, I can't say that, but what I can confidently say is, even though it's hard to distinguish facial features,
That is definitely Stone Cold Steve Austin. Can I get a hell yeah?
this is a tricky one because I can see the potential of it being a good game, but it's just I'm bad at it. For the most part, the tricks are there, you can do all your flippity-dippity McNipple twisty flips. The combos are there too, but it's just my skills, they're nowhere to be seen. I will give myself a bit of credit though, I feel like it's because the game's just a bit too slow, that's what makes it so hard to do combos. So you can do your reverts into manual and then flip and then, you know, grabs. And there's a little bit of an input lag with the button presses, which just makes it a bit more challenging to actually do these combos. Therefore, there is a bit more of a learning curve and it's a bit more challenging. So for me, I would just play the ones that I already know how to play and the ones that I know I'm good at. So it kind of holds up, it's just, it's not for me. I'm bad at it. WWE Survivor Series. Wow. Look at that. Just look at that. It's almost like you're watching real men sweating in their underwear rubbing up on each other. In this game, even though the roster is tiny, you can pretty much create your dream matchups, like having two giants going at it, the Big Red Machine versus Rey Mysterio Johnson. This fucking game, man. Why is Mysterio so big? The real matches in this game, bro, isn't whoever's wrestling on the screen. No, it's you versus your patience, because it's just so goddamn slow. I actually think I used to spend more time listening to all their themes, remixed into 8-bit, as I watched them all have the exact same entrance as each other. Also, where's the Fulfill Your Fantasy match? Actually, no, scratch that. Where are the women in general? I guess it is nice to see John Cena rocking his Crash Bandicoot attire though. WarioWare. Where is Wario? He here. I hate to do it, but I'm going to have to put this game into modern terms. It's like TikTok the game. It's a minigame madness of just what the fuck. You barely have time to process what you just saw before you're in the next minigame. And it's just batshit crazy fun. The beauty is in how fast paced it is. Because to be honest, if I had to play any of these minigames for more than a minute at a time, I think I'd go nuts. Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. In my PSP video, I briefly touched on the obvious comparisons between Final Fantasy Tactics and Lord of the Rings Tactics. Well, I'm about to do it again. The Third Age on the GBA is a strategy grid-based RPG in a similar vein to Final Fantasy Tactics, except in this, not every unit gets a turn. Every battleground is split into 3 lanes, and for each turn, each lane gets a random number of command points. For every unit you command in a turn in that lane, it goes down a point until you run out, and then it swaps to the enemy's turn. Also, in comparison to the PS2 version, picking from the goodies or the baddie side is actually better on this one because there's a bit more story involved rather than just playing through the same battles as the baddies like you do on the PS2 one. You see me? I picked the baddie side. I guess that's just cause I'm a bad to the bone. Also, the Witch King is just so cool, he's a downright menace. I just couldn't wait to work alongside him. Pokemon Ruby! Let's be real for a second here. If there's one game that I don't think I need to talk about on this list, it's Pokemon. Who the hell doesn't know the Pokemon games? I actually liked this game so much that years later I spent way too much money getting a 3DS just to play the Omega version of this game. Although my excuse is I had lost my GBA at that point. So basically I evolved from a dumb child to a dumb adult. Here's a quick rundown. You catch Pokemon. You fight other Pokemon with Pokemon. You get badges from beating gym leaders, and some people find it in their best interest to catch every single Pokemon. It's a really good game. I never did manage to capture every Pokemon go to the polls. I never did manage to capture every Pokemon though. It's clear to see that I shat on a fair amount of these games, but does that make the GBA a bad console? Yes. No, not at all, not at all. It's actually kind of crazy how many of the games do still hold up and are still fun to play. The weird thing is though, I genuinely never disliked any of these games when I used to play them, and I don't know if that's just because I was a stupid little bitch, or if I was just happy to be here, playing a game. So, I'd like to thank myself for ruining my own memories of some of these games by revisiting them. But I'd also like to thank you for chasing those nostalgia highs and watching this video. Catch you later.